The high stakes world of entertainment. A few names command as much respect and recognition as Michael Ovitz. Rising from humble beginnings to become Hollywood's most formidable power broker, Ovitz transformed the landscape of talent representation and redefined what it meant to be an agent in the entertainment industry. As the co-founder of creative artist agency known as CAA, Ovitz revolutionized the talent agency business model. Under his leadership, CAA grew from a small startup founded in 1975 to the dominant force in Hollywood by the 1990s, representing A-list stars, directors, and writers while packaging major film and television projects. His innovative approach to representation created unprecedented leverage for his clients and forever changed how deals were structured in entertainment. But Ovid's journey wasn't without significant challenges. He faced fierce competition, industry skepticism, and constant pressure of high stakes negotiations. When he left CAA in 1995 to become president of Disney, his tenure ended after just 14 months and public setback that would have permanently derailed many careers. Yet, Ovitz demonstrated remarkable resilience, reinventing himself as an investor and advisor to tech companies, proving his business acumen extended far beyond Hollywood. And in this podcast, we'll be going over 10 powerful lessons, and you'll also learn how to apply them these lessons are from Michael Ovitz. Whether you're an entrepreneur, CEO, investor, creative professional, corporate executive, these strategies help Ovitz rise to the pinnacle of Hollywood power and can help you navigate your own career challenges. From mastering the art of negotiation to building influential relationships and recovering from setbacks, these practical insights from one entertainment most successful dealmakers will give you a competitive edge in business and life. So stay tuned, okay? We're going to be breaking down the methods that Ovitz used to become a legend. And I'm also going to be showing to you how to implement them today. So the first lesson is called Network to Net Worth. Michael Ovitz's success at CAA hinged on his relentless relationship building. He didn't just represent clients, he created a web of influence by packaging deals where CAA controlled multiple elements: writers, directors, and actors. For example, when negotiating for a film project in 1980s, Ovitz leveraged his network to secure a deal where CAA represented the entire creative team, giving him unprecedented control over terms with studios like Paramount. In his memoir, he talks about how powerful relationships are, and without them, you are bankrupt. This approach turned connections into concrete financial and strategic power. So, a lot of highly successful people are very intentional about relationships. They have a way to seek out the right people. They're always cultivating their network. They always have a strategy, whether it's personal brand, whether it's events. So for you, what you need to do, how you can apply this, is you need to cultivate a networking strategy to be able to connect with the right people, industries, create the relationships, and hold events. Ari Onassis, if you don't know who he is the logistics shipping magnate. He would invite people to his yacht. And when he would have a party in his yacht, he would have a goal to connect with one powerful person. It could be in politics, it could be a vendor, it could be a banker, but that was his strategy. So for you, have a networking strategy. So now, strategy number 2, master the message. Ovitz was a genius at controlling narratives. When brokering high stakes deals, he strategically leaked information to shape perceptions. In one instance, while selling a script in 1980s, he hinted to Variety that multiple studios were in a bidding war, whether true or not, driving up the price and urgency. And this tactic pressured studios in acting fast, amplifying CAA's profits and reputation. How does this apply to you and your business and what you're currently doing? Well, my mentor told me this powerful quote: your perception is your reality. So, in this situation, Ovitz created a perception, whether it's true or not. He created a perception, and that perception helped him or help his clients. So, how can you create perception that is going to favor you in your business, in your career, in your life? And there's also negative perception. If it's not positioned the right way, or people don't perceive you the right way, then it can be harming your message, your reputation, your branding, the business. So be strategic about the perception that you're giving to the audience or your target market or the people that you want to connect with. Strategy number 3, dare to disrupt. Ovitz didn't just join the talent agency game. He wrote it. When co-founding CAA, he aimed to upend the industry status quo by offering clients holistic career management from deal making to financial planning. This bold move challenged giants like William Morris and made CAA a powerhouse. Reflecting in his memoir, we wanted to redefine what best meant. In 1989, CAA represented over 1,400 top talents, proving the strategy scale. So shift your mindset to question the industry norms. Identify one standard process in your work. Say, how can your team handle the onboarding? How can we disrupt the industry? Test small, measure impact, and then scale if it works. When you're doing when you're going through the process of disruption and innovation, there's going to be failures and learning experiences. And you use that to then help you make better decisions. And sometimes you have to have bold experiments. And if you want to be a great company, you will need to have bold experiments. You need to have good bets, right? That's not going to take out the company. That's going to have a lot of upsides. So dare to disrupt the company. Don't be afraid to stand out. Don't be afraid to be different. Don't be afraid to go out there and make a statement. Strategy number 4, negotiate like a pro. Ovid's negotiation prowess showed when he created competition to maximize value. In 1980s, while representing a major client's film project, he approached Universal and Warner Brothers, simultaneously sparking a bidding war that inflated the deal's value for beyond initial offers. And this tactic secured a record-breaking terms and cemented his reputation as a deal maker. So, build a decision-making framework. Always create alternatives. Right? He created a bidding war. And this propelled his reputation, his brand, his name. And he is a good negotiator. Negotiation is a skill. You need to be great at it. And if you don't have, some people are better than others. What you need to have on your team is somebody who will negotiate like a pro. So I believe everybody should learn sales, negotiation, communication, improve their communication, and also psychology. There's a lot of skills that are very valuable in this world, and negotiation is one of them. Strategy number 5, assemble your Avengers. Ovitz built CAA into a juggernaut by surrounding himself with exceptional talent and fostering collaboration. He mentored agents like Ron Mayer, and Bill Haber, creating a team that worked as a unit rather than rivals. Synergy was the key when CAA landed massive deals, like representing both Tom Cruise and Steven Spielberg for a single project. Okay? Now. He said, a great team can achieve the impossible. A solo act can only go so far. How does this apply to you? Well, you got to curate your own Avenger squad. Identify one skill gap in your current team or circle and recruit or partner with someone strong in that area. Now, collaboration is the most important thing here. You want to have an organization that doesn't have internal conflict. And when you have a lot of talented people, a lot of smart people, a lot of hungry people, there's going to be conflict. And it's your job as a leader to manage that conflict. It's your job as a leader to be able to manage all those people. And when you have, I've studied a lot of great organizations, and great organizations is built on amazing people. So if you're building a great organization, and if you want to have a great organization, you need to be able to recruit the top talent, retain the top talent, pay the top talent. You can never overpay for the top talent. I'm going to say that again. You can never overpay for the top talent. Strategy number 6, pivot with purpose. Ovitz's career wasn't linear. He pivoted strategically. After leaving CAA in 1995, he joined Disney as a president, a role requiring corporate navigation rather than agency deal-making. Though his 14-month tenure ended amid clashes with the CEO, Michael Eisner, it showed his willingness to evolve. In an interview, he said, "The only constant in business is change. Embrace it or get left behind." Post-Disney, he pivoted again into venture capital, proving adaptability. Now, you have to be able to reinvent yourself. You have to be able to pivot. And in this situation, Michael changed his he grew as a person. He reinvented as a person. He reinvented himself as a person, from the skills, his mental model, to the industry. So you have to develop a habit of intentional reinvention. This is not a passive act. This is an intentional act. So every quarter, assess your skills, industry trends. Pick one area to explore. It could be a Python. It could be sales. It could be marketing. It could be operations. It could be AI. It could be accounting. It could be legal. Spend 30 minutes learning. You might have to pivot and keep an open mind. That's the most important thing. Strategy number 7, guard your good name. And Ovitz's new reputation was his lifeline. During a continuous 1990s deal, when a studio balked at terms, he took the blame publicly rather than throwing his client under the bus, preserving his credibility for future negotiations. He writes in his memoir, "Your reputation is your most valuable asset. Guard it fiercely." This approach ensured that he remained a trusted figure even after setbacks. Warren Buffett talks about reputation. And reputation is something that you want to guard. Don't diminish your reputation. It's very easy for you to lose. So protect it. A good reputation can bring you good deals. A good reputation can bring you and attract a lot of talents. A good reputation will help you foster the right type of relationship. There are so many benefits to having good reputation. So make sure that you guard yours. Strategy number 8, map the power of matrix. I know it sounds complicated, Map the power matrix. Sounds cool. But here's what it means. Okay. At Disney, Ovitz faced a steep learning curve with corporate power dynamics. He spent his early months analyzing Eisner's influence and the board's alliances, trying to position himself effectively. Though he misjudged some relationship, in his memoir, he reveals his method. Power isn't always visible. You have to map the invisible networks. This insight shaped his survival strategy until his exit in 1996. So, create a mental model for power mapping. In your next project, it could be a job. Sketch a quick influence art. Who decides, who advises, who executes, who has the power? Spend a week observing interactions to align with the real decision makers and use knowledge because knowledge is a leverage. You have to sometimes in life you have to navigate through politics. You have to understand who holds the power. You have to understand in sales, you have to understand who the decision maker is. So in this situation, based on what he was going through, he needed to understand who had the power. Okay. And it's not always visible, but you have to be able to figure it out. Strategy number 9. Make it exclusive. Ovitz used scarcity to boost demand. When representing stars like Dustin Hoffman in 1980s, he'd limit their availability, telling studios they were booked, or choosy, to heighten their perceived value. Remember I said earlier, your perception is your reality. This tactic often doubled their fees. He writes in his book, scarcity isn't just about supply, it's about perception. Studios paid premiums for the exclusivity. Okay, I'm gonna tell you something. When Charlie Munger talks about the cognitive bias, and if you want to do well, you need to have a Lollapalooza effect. And when I was going door to door, I was the number one salesperson, and the reason why and how I got that position is because I had the Lollapalooza effect. Okay, I had the contrast bias. I had the scarcity bias. I had the social proof. I focused on the benefit. I was likable. And if you want to succeed, your offer, your business, your product, your services, it needs to have that Lollapalooza effect. Okay? It needs to have that Lollapalooza effect. And in this situation, see, with just one tactic or one cognitive bias, which is scarcity, it increased the perceived value. And this is just one, scarcity. Imagine if you had a ton more going on for your business, your product. I guarantee you, you're going to 10x your sales. You're gonna minimum double your sales by having the right structure, the Lollapalooza effect, and read. Okay, there's 25 cognitive biases that Charlie Munger talks about. Study that. Read it every single year. Memorize it because it's going to do wonders for your business. You're going to understand the human behavior, and you're also going to understand, and it's going to help you in business and in life. Strategy number 10, the last one, build to last. Ovitz designed a CA for longevity. Not just quick wins, he established mentorship programs and collaborative culture, ensuring the agency thrived after his 1995 departure. By 2000, CA remained a titan, managing talents like Brad Pitt, thanks to his system. He reflects, legacy isn't about what you achieve, it's about what you leave behind. His focus on structure paid off decades later. So, focus on the long term. Shift to legacy building framework in your work, in your business, in your career, in your venture. Okay, focus on the long term. In your work, document one process you own. It could be a sales script, it could be a product, it could be IP, and train your colleague on this every month. Set a goal to make your role or project yourself sustaining. Could this run without me? Small steps now create enduring impact later. You want to be able to systemize your business. create a systemized business and focus on the long term. This is what's going to make the business valuable. Now, we're going to be going over his mental models. I think you are going to find this very valuable. His mental models when it comes to hiring, his mental model when it comes to leadership style, his financial strategy, his branding, his customer acquisition. So now we went over his business strategy and lessons and how he can apply to you. And now with this, you're going to understand how he thinks, how he would approach a certain scenario or situation. Okay. So the first thing is, what is his core principles and values? Well, Ovitz prioritized clients above all, stating that we had to be the last one standing for our clients. So he built CA on relentless service, ensuring clients felt protected and prioritized. That was his core principle and values. Now, when it comes to hiring, remember I talked earlier, you need to have talented people in your business, amazing people, hungry people, smart people, right? So he would recruit aggressively, poach top agents, and prioritize hungry, smart, and loyal talent. That was his hiring process. He fostered a competition amongst agents and then offering equity stakes to senior partners. You got to make them partner. What are you going to do? Attracting talent is one thing, but retaining talent is another skill. And if you, Jim Simmons, Jim from Renaissance Technology, he made everybody a partner. And that's one of the reasons people stayed. What is Michael's decision-making framework? Well, he relied on gut instinct, honed from industry relationships. You have to make decisions with incomplete informations. So you got to balance bold moves with contingency planning, right? So nobody has 100% complete information. But what you need to do as a leader, you need to make decisions even if your information is incomplete. How did Michael handle mistakes and failures? Well, in the Disney presidency, he admitted misjudging corporate politics. I didn't understand the culture. I was a fish out of water. And then he pivoted into consulting post-exit. CAA's rapid growth led to an internal strife, later acknowledged burnout. So that was, he learned from that lesson. He learned from that experience, his journey, his chapter in life. And he realized that he was a fish out of a water. He didn't understand the culture of Disney. Leadership style. Micromanage operation, insisting on perfection. I was the tip of the spear. He cultivated a wolf pack mentality, though some describe his style as fear-based. There's no wrong or right style. Just do the style that is congruent with your nature. Innovation tactics. Bundling talent to control projects, increasing agency revenue and influence. He expanded into sports and corporate consulting. So this is how he innovated the industry. He disrupted the industry. What was his financial strategy? Well, plowed earnings into talent acquisition and global offices. He negotiated 10% fees, later raising them for top clients. Partnership and networking. He was really, really big into networking. So take a note of this one. He built a Rolodex empire. Close ties to Sony Akio Morita. Relationships are currency. Let me say that again. Relationships are currency. And partner with studios to lock in exclusive deals. Right? That was the strategic alliance. You need to develop a Rolodex of empire. Right? Now, you can find people on the internet. You have access to research on your phone, introductions, LinkedIn, connection within the connection, make a post, right? There's so many ways to connect and find the right type of people. Scaling mechanics. How did Michael deal with scaling mechanics? Well, he hired aggressively to control multiple talent tiers: actors, writers, directors. And he opened offices in Europe, Asia to capitalize on international markets. Branding and positioning. His USP: full service agency with unmatched access. And he positioned CAA as the anti-William Morris. How did he differentiate his business? He guaranteed 24/7 availability. And Ovitz carried a pager at all times. Pager. That is, I haven't seen one of those in a while. Do they still? Nobody uses pager, but like, maybe it's in an antique store, or somebody really old might have them just to keep memories. But that's funny. Pagers. Customer acquisition and retention. Star signings. Lured clients like Tom Hanks via personalized pitches. Assign multiple agents to each client to ensure constant attention. Crisis management. Frame departure as a mutual decision, pivoting advisory roles. Resource allocation. Invested heavily in recruiting, then overpaying to block the competitors. You can never pay for talent. You can never overpay for great talent. All right, so prioritize high value clients and delegating a smaller task to junior agents. Cultural impact. CAA's packaging dominance reshaped studios' negotiations. Long-term vision. Aim to build the Goldman Sachs of entertainment. Balance short-term wins with institutional longevity. Ethical dilemmas. Defended as business, not personal, though rivals accuse them of ruthlessness. Well, that's everybody has a personality, and just be congruent. That's all I gotta say. Personal habits and routines. 18-hour days. Obsessive note taking. I treated every day like a battle. Okay? Treated every day like a battle. You gotta treat every day. If you're an entrepreneur, somebody's out there that wants to compete with you. If you have a business, product, service, somebody out there wants to compete with you. It's a healthy paranoia. If you work like somebody's going to take your spot, your clients, your business, your staff, litigation, there's people trying to get market share, your market share. So you have to treat every day like a battle. Technology adoption. Use fax machines to speed communications in 1980s. And how are you integrating technology into your business? If you don't do something about it, you're going to get left behind. And technology, especially with AI, the AI industry is moving so fast. It's insane. So you gotta have somebody on your team dedicated just for technology, because AI is going to increase the productivity of your business. And it's not just about AI. It could be any type of technology. Legacy and exit. Sold stake amid international tensions, later calling it the hardest decision. So these are the mental models of Michael Ovitz. And then I also went through and over the 10 business lessons and strategies, and also talked about how it can change your life. And the reason why I do this is because of, one, I thoroughly enjoy going over people's success stories, how they built empires, their legacy, their dynasty. And it's very, very valuable. This type of information and knowledge is valuable. And if you found value in this particular episode and podcast, I want you to subscribe, and I want you to share. Share on X, share it on your social media. And with that being said, stay tuned for my next amazing episode. And now go out there. Go out there and build your dynasty and forge your legacy and forge your empire. With that being said, stay tuned for my next episode. Peace.